So Donald Trump is still out there holding his hate rallies and peddling the big election lie, which prompts just one question. When will Donald Trump be charged with his crimes? Let's talk about that, because justice matters. Hey all, Glenn Kirshner here. So after the most recent January 6th public hearings, more blockbuster evidentiary revelations about Donald Trump's crimes, his conspiracy, his callousness, letting the people at the U.S. Capitol be attacked for more than 3 hours and doing nothing, wanting it to succeed. As I've said before, during those 3 hours, he was not the leader of the country, he was the leader of the coup. And it prompted me to talk over the last 48 hours on TV and on podcasts and radio interviews about the parlor game that we've been playing for years, 5 years now. That parlor game involves every time there's another revelation about Donald Trump's conduct, we spend time talking about, well, is that a crime? You know, and that parlor game is what we just learned Donald Trump did a crime. Reminds me of that old saying, if a tree falls in the forest and there's nobody there to hear it, does it make a sound? If Donald Trump commits a crime and there's nobody there to indict it, does it really matter? Because we have yet to see a single charge against Donald Trump or any of his co-conspirators, other than Steve Bannon, who was just convicted of 2 counts of contempt of Congress for refusing to testify, right, for covering up the crimes of Donald Trump in a very real sense. Other than Steve Bannon, you know, we've got nothing by way of criminal indictments. So rather than play the parlor game, is what we just learned about Donald Trump's conduct yet another crime when he was sitting there for 187 minutes, not sending out a message to stop the Capitol attack and not sending reinforcements, you know, law enforcement resources, military resources to protect the lives of the people in the Capitol? Is that thing evidence of yet another crime? Doesn't matter. You know why? Because that thing that he did, like so many other things that he did or failed to do, it all is part of a criminal conspiracy. What we call a 371 conspiracy to commit offenses against or defraud the United States. And that's a charge that a federal judge, David Carter, has already ruled Donald Trump committed, and he found by a preponderance of the evidence Donald Trump committed the crime of conspiracy to defraud the United States or commit offenses against the United States. And Judge Carter also found by a preponderance of the evidence that Donald Trump, together with John Eastman, also committed a second federal felony offense, obstructing an official proceeding, the certification of Joe Biden's election win. So all of this other conduct and misconduct of Donald Trump that we're learning about through the January 6th House Select Committee public hearings, it all feeds into that crime of conspiracy. It doesn't matter if in and of itself, in isolation, that 187 minutes constitutes yet another standalone crime that could be charged against Trump. You can only confine a man for but one life. And the crimes that we can already prove against Donald Trump are many and varied and stack up with prison time to the moon and back. The federal judge found, by a preponderance of the evidence, a higher standard than is required to charge and indict somebody. That's only probable cause, a lower standard than preponderance of the evidence. Judge Carter already found he obstructed the official proceedings. He committed a conspiracy to defraud the United States. There's evidence that supports indicting Donald Trump for inciting an insurrection, for inciting an armed riot, a slightly different charge. I contend that the evidence that he committed and can be indicted for a seditious conspiracy is growing by the day. I assert that he committed treason by levying war against the United States, against the democratic process, against the certification of Joe Biden's election win. And there are other crimes that we don't even talk about. We haven't heard much about, but they can be charged, they can be indicted, they can be proved. In fact, they can be proved by a novice prosecutor. There's a crime called assaulting or interfering with or impeding the duties of a federal official. 18 United States Code, Section 111. Donald Trump clearly interfered with and impeded the official duties of Mike Pence, who was trying to certify the election's results. When Donald Trump launched the attack, refused to call it off, tweeted out that Mike Pence didn't have the courage to do what was necessary to save our country, inspiring the mob to want to hang Mike Pence. And Donald Trump said, the mob is right, Mike Pence should be hanged. Yeah, call me crazy, but that sounds like interfering or impeding the official duties of a federal government official. And that's an 8-year felony, friends. Section 111, it's an 8-year felony. You can only confine a man for but one life. It's an 8-year felony unless Donald Trump did it while armed. Then it's a 20-year felony. Well, do we have any evidence that Donald Trump knew his angry mob that he told to go to the Capitol, fight like hell, and stop the certification was armed? Yes, we do. He was briefed before he gave his speech that some of his supporters in the crowd were armed with pistols, with rifles, with other dangerous and deadly weapons, to which he replied, "They're not here to hurt me, so take down the metal detectors and then we will all march to the Capitol," before instructing them to go down there and fight like hell and stop what was going on in that building. So yes, Donald Trump actually committed the offense of impeding or interfering with the duties of a government official while armed. That's a 20-year offense. Friends, all that is left is for the Department of Justice to move from the parlor with these parlor games into the courtroom and get a prosecutor to plant her feet in the well of the court and stand firm and argue to 12 people in a jury box who are sitting as the conscience of the community that Donald Trump committed these crimes, because he did, and it can be proved beyond a reasonable doubt, and it's time to protect the American people and to protect our democracy. Let me add this. There's something called the Crime Victims' Bill of Rights in the federal code. The technical name is the Crime Victims' Rights Act, the CVRA. And if you go to the federal code and read the Crime Victims' Bill of Rights, you know what the number one right is of crime victims in America? Of people who have been victimized because someone committed crimes against the United States and her people? The number one right of crime victims, and make no mistake about it, friends, we are all victims of Donald Trump's crimes, whether we like to think of ourselves as victims or not. The number one right we all have is to be reasonably protected against the offender. How many people out there feel reasonably protected against Donald Trump when he is continuing to hold hate rallies? He's continuing to peddle the big lie, and people who are not critical thinkers or who are gullible enough to believe a two-bit con man are buying into it. In a very real sense, he's recruiting the next batch of insurrectionists Insurrection 2.0. They're listening to him. They're believing the big lie. And these people are out there making their life decisions based on their belief that their election was stolen from them. Their vote was stolen from them. And we continue to let Donald Trump get away with endangering all of the American people. Really, most directly, he's endangering his own supporters, the ones gullible enough to believe him. And at what point will DOJ move from the parlor into the courtroom and begin to hold Donald Trump accountable? Shut him down, protect the American people, protect our democracy, give us an opportunity to rebuild our government and its institutions. Give us a chance. Because justice matters. Friends, as always, please stay safe. Please stay tuned. And I look forward to talking with you all again tomorrow.